Hello and welcome to the Winning Mentality podcast. I'm Charlie Bosco, and today I'm chatting to a woman who, aged just 19, has a far better win ratio in her sport than Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Roger Federer, or Michael Schumacher. She's now heading towards her first ever Olympics as her sport, climbing, makes its debut at the Games. Janja Garnbret is, frankly, a sensation and has the potential to be one of the stars of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. After a career in youth competitions, which saw her win 18 of the 19 world or European events she entered, she started competing at senior level aged 16 and has frankly dominated women's climbing in the 3 years since. Competition climbing has three disciplines: lead, boulder and speed. And it's the first discipline that Janja has focused on for the first few years of her career. To give you some idea of her performance, she's entered 27 senior world level events in lead since 2015 and won 15 of them. In the other 12, she was on the podium 11 times. That means she's missed one podium in 27 events. That's a scarcely believable rate of success, but when you consider that in each round of a lead competition, you only get one go, and that a foot slip or a small mistake could spit you off the wall at any moment, it becomes even more incredible. In bouldering, considered by some to be her second discipline, she's entered 12 world-level events, winning 5, and earlier in 2018 she became the first woman in history to win World Championship golds in 2 disciplines. Speed climbing is, she's happy to admit, not a passion for her, but the Olympics will be contested across all 3 disciplines, and she's having to learn to speed climb to give her the best chance in Tokyo. I've commentated on all of Janja's victories and have interviewed her countless times in arenas and venues across Europe, the US, Japan, China, Russia. However, she and I have never sat down and had a long, in-depth discussion, and I had so many questions when we met up the evening before the last day of the 2018 competition season in the hotel we were staying in Xiamen on the shore of the South China Sea. In the end, we managed in 45 minutes to talk about training, motivation, the Olympics, dealing with pressure and expectation, and how she tries to be a good person and live her life. Janja Garnbret is not only one of the most dominant athletes I've ever seen, she's also an exceptionally thoughtful, well-rounded and decent person. And whatever your age, I think you will pick up some lessons in sport and life from this exceptional 19-year-old from small-town Slovenia. Before we talk about even talk about climbing, you're from Slovenia, and it's a fabulous country. If people are listening to this and they haven't been to Slovenia, it's the hidden treasure of Europe. I just love it. And it's a really unusual country. It's only 2 million people, only really one big city. Is that fair?
Yeah, we don't have big cities. I mean, we have big cities for us, but it's not comparable to other bigger countries. Yes, and it's, yeah, of course it's funny countries. We have 2 million people, and it's really nice. I actually love my country, and I always love to come back after competition to my home. And yes, we have sea, you have mountains, you have everything.
But it seems to produce an incredible amount of good climbers. It was alpine climbers before, very successful in the Himalayas. More recently, some really good rock climbers like you. What was life like growing up in Slovenia? Paint the picture of a childhood in Slovenia.
Yes, Yes, I started climbing first on trees and closets and doors and everything like a normal child, I think.
Your family weren't climbers,
and my family is not a climbing family. Also, my sister is not climbing and is completely opposite of me. I tried first. I tried climbing in my hometown. There was a promotion wall, and of course I tried, and everybody was impressed and said that I should sign in the club. And of course my parents signed me in the club. And yes, I started climbing, and after years of training, I started competing in at the youth cups and youth championships, and of course I watched first Natalia Gross, then Maja Vidmar, then Mina Markovic, and I wanted to, I wanted, I wanted to compete at such high level for so long, and I was really impressed about their performances, and I wanted to be like them, or I wanted to be like them in the future. So for me, I must say that for a girl growing up in Slovenia, it's easier to success because everybody sees, Natalia, Maya, Mina, and now me, and I think every girl who is ambitious and want to be the best have like a thought in their head, if she can do it, then I can do it too. And I think that there is a tradition, so it's easier for girls than boys.
And when you started climbing, did you like it straight away?
Yes, it was a love at first sight, and I remember that I didn't want to get off the wall, and I didn't want to end the training. And yes, I loved climbing from the first time.
Was it the movement? Was it just unlike anything you'd done before?
I don't know, because I wasn't thinking about anything. I just wanted to climb, and I think it was because I felt strong and light at the same time, and I like the movement and the focus you have when you're climbing. I really like that.
And so, where did it develop? Because most people, including myself, climb because we like it. It's not a competition. Did you just enter a competition and enjoy that side of it?
Yes, because I started climbing in 2006, I think, in September, in September, and I was training for 1 year, but it was like once per week because I was a little girl, 6, 7 years old, and of course you couldn't do like the whole week of trainings. And then in 2008 I started competing in national cups. I was the last.
Really?
It's a fun fact. Yes, I was the last.
What age were you competing against? Your age?
My age and 1 year older, or maybe yes, 1 year. Yeah, 1 year older, and I was the last. But it was just one competition because I didn't even know. I was just there, and I like climbing. I even didn't know how to compete at bouldering. Bouldering was my first competition, and it was funny because I didn't know about the start, the zone, the top, and everybody was telling me what to do.
So you didn't even know the rules?
I didn't even know the rules. It's a fun fact that my parents thought that the more you go, the more tries you have in the boulder, the better it is.
Okay. So for
It
people
was-
listening, that is the opposite. You have to do
That
it as
is-
fast as you can.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And but I just like the movement. I wasn't thinking about winning the competitions or be the best. I just loved climbing. But then when I started to watch Mina Maya at age 10, I think, then I had a picture in my mind to do something in my climbing to be like them.
And when did you begin to love competing? I mean, I know you said you enjoyed it at the start, but when you started to succeed, what was the enjoyment? Do you enjoy the sensation of winning? Is it direct, like you enjoy beating someone? Because it's okay to say that. Some people admit like they really like to beat someone else. It's not just a competition with themselves. It's a they love the competition with someone else. Was that the case for you?
For me, I was pushed into the competitions. It was not like against my will. I wanted to compete, but I wasn't pushed in. But I kind of fell into the competitions, and it was before I started rock climbing, and I loved it from the first time. And I don't love competitions because I can beat someone, because this is not good for me to think if I beat this girl, then I will be happy with my climbing. This was never a case for me because Because if you focus on one person, then you messed up your climbing and your love for climbing. So for me, is I just love how is your mental and physical game on the competition, because it's when you're in the top 5 in the world, then it doesn't matter. I mean, you have to train hard, you have to be strong, but the mental game is the most important part of the competition. And sometimes it works, sometimes you are not thinking about anything and you climb really well, sometimes you overthink everything and you don't do so well. So we are always trying to find a balance between being angry on the wall and being completely relaxed. I'm still learning, and it's getting better and better every year. And I'm still trying to understand my climbing more and me more, and what to think before I go to climbing, what to think just before I step into the route. And it's a funny game.
Well, when does the preparation for that start? I mean, do you think the best tactic if you want to be your best is not to think about it until really the last minute? Or are you someone that likes to think about it like 3 or 4 days before? Do you start thinking, okay, I need to be ready?
Yes, of course, I have doubt in myself if I'm ready or not. Did I train enough? I always have these questions before the season starts or before the World Championships, for example. I always ask myself, did I train enough? I didn't train enough. I'm gonna mess something. And then I try to remind myself that if I enjoy, then I will do well. And it's really important for me to always enjoy on competitions, because if you don't enjoy, then you usually don't have the results.
I mean, you're still only, 19 now? 19. Yeah. Well, it's crazy where I think myself included when we think of what I was doing at 19. But I wasn't traveling the world winning world championships, that's for sure. But as you've competed more and more, it always seems to me, as someone who watches you, that you're best when you're not thinking about your climbing. Are you, I don't want to say worried, but do you wonder if now you're thinking too much? Or in the future you'll think too much, whereas the first 3 years of your career, you didn't think too much. You just climbed because you love it and every result was a bonus. And now you're at the stage where really we, the climbing public and the climbing media, I don't want to say expect you to win, but you're always the favourite. And do you think your mindset is changing as you have more success? And is that a good thing?
Yes, I'm only 19 and I accomplished everything I strived for. I won the lead world championships, now the boulder world championships, the combined world championships, and the overall titles. And this year I was first or second on every competition, and this is just crazy. And yeah, I think it's way easier to try to be the best than to than to stay on the first place, because you have no one to beat. Before I wanted to, yes, I said that I don't want to, compare myself to other girls and to say if I beat this girl then I will be happy. It was not the case. I always wanted just to not to beat that girl, but to be as good as she is, and to be on the first place, not to beat her. And I think it was easier to win the 2016 overall title than the next year and this year. I think the mindset is changing, because I think in the first year I was the new one. Nobody knew what to expect from me. I was the girl who could do something in her life, in her climbing, for the community. But now, yes, I think everybody expects me to win, and I can feel that. But I'm always impressed how can I climb in such pressure when everybody expects me to win. And I think here is really important for me to enjoy. And yes, I think the mindset is changing. And also because I know that you can't be always the best. You can't always win everything. I think in one day I won't be the best anymore. I won't be always first or second. I will be maybe third, fourth, fifth. I don't know. And I think here is. I think I have to admit that I have maybe a little problem with that because I never had failures in my life, never. I always on the first youth competitions I won, and I never had something to go for it, to just go for it. I don't know, for the win. I came and I won, and in my life I never had failures, and I think once I think. When the failure comes one day, I won't be as prepared for it as I could be if I had failures before in my life. And yeah.
So what's the motivation now? Because not many people have achieved their goal. So you won the World Championship, you won the overall title, like you say, you won the World Championship in 2 disciplines. First woman to do that, the combined. Actually, I interviewed you live on stage for Austrian TV, and I forgot to tell you that my daughter was sick on me as I was walking to the stage, and it was just one of those funny moments. I really hoped you didn't notice live on Austrian TV, like my pants were covered in child sick.
I didn't notice.
Oh, good. Okay. Good. Luckily, the camera was just in the chest, but I was standing on the stage. I was thinking, oh, God, I can't believe this. Perfect timing. But being serious again, you achieved so much before 19. What is the motivation now? Because do you feel you've been the best you can be? Or can you be better?
I can be better, I think. I always strive to be not better in results, because you can be better than first, but I can be better as a person, as a climber, and I really want to, of course, I really want to be stronger, be faster, be more flexible, be a better climber. But for me, it's really important to also train my mind, because I know Jain Kim competes for so many years, and she is strong. But I think it was not easy for her to come to switch from the lead climbing. It was a few years ago, then to lead climbing, that is now. And
the style has changed.
The style, yes. And I really admire her, because I think these things are not easy. And yes, for me, my motivation is, yes, I must say, the love for climbing. The only thing is that changed is that that in lead I was the lead world champion 3 times. I mean, not 3 times yet, but 2 times the overall World Cup winner. And the only thing that has changed is that maybe I love bouldering more, because I still have challenges there. I still want to win the overall bouldering title, and I really want to do something in bouldering more than yes, I won the bouldering championship, but I still want to win the overall, and I think I can improve more in bouldering, and I love bouldering more now. I still like lead climbing. I still love competitions, and I still want to change. Find the balance in my mental game, and this is why I'm still competing.
Are you worried, though, that if you do win the bouldering and you do have success, that you'll still be motivated? You mentioned Jane Kim, who's one of your competitors, but she was competing, I guess, long before you climbed. She was competing maybe when you were born.
Yeah.
She must have been. I mean, I'm sure she won a competition before you began climbing. And she's kept the motivation. Do you wonder what your motivation will be, or you think you'll just always love it? I mean, you mentioned Mina as well. She's your teammate now. She used to be your hero, and now she's your teammate. Maybe still your hero, but she's still going. Do you think you'll be like that? You think you'll keep that motivation?
I think I will always keep my motivation for climbing, because climbing is for life. For me, climbing is not just a competition, because climbing is so much more than that. I can still go outside. I love climbing outside, but I'm still young and I still want to achieve everything I want at competition level. But of course, once I finish my career, or once I think I I don't want. I mean, I will go climbing outside when I realize that I don't enjoy competing anymore, or that I achieved everything I wished for, and I still want to go rock climbing and climb the hardest routes. This is this is also my big goal, and of course, after every season, I go outside and try to climb as many routes as I can. But now competitions keeps me busy, and I don't have much time for rock climbing, but I think my motivation will stay the same for a long, long time.
Do records interest you? Because when I commentate on you, I have to think about what to say, and it's always impressive just to read what you've done, and you're not even 20 years old yet. Are you motivated? Because you could create records, number of wins, number of overall season wins that might never be broken. Does that do records motivate you?
I was never thinking about that.
Sorry.
No, not problem. I like to think about it now. I mean, I broke the record last year about with the points in the overall, and
Did that feel pretty good?
it felt good. It felt pretty good, but it was not my goal. It's never my goal to break someone's record. It's always it for me. It's always from competition to competition. When I come to competition, I want to win. I want to enjoy. I want to be the best version of myself, and I go with that mindset in every competition. And record or not, I don't care, because if I enjoy something and if I did my best, then I'm happy with myself. And yeah, of course, the records with wins, it would be great if I could broke that record, but it's important for me to enjoy, not to just go for the wins because of the record. It's really important to enjoy in the process.
I think we've just seen or just heard one of the reasons you've been so successful, because I always feel like as soon as someone starts thinking about records or number of titles, I mean, it's different if you start and you say, I want my career to be the best career anyone has ever had. But when you say you just want to enjoy it, that sounds like a really healthy way to compete.
Yes, I agree, because if you don't enjoy, then I think you don't have the results you want, and I think it's not healthy for you to put so much pressure on yourself, because everybody else around you already put a lot of pressure on you, so you don't have to put even more pressure on yourself. But this is really hard also for me. Yes, to try to not to listen to everybody saying, yes, you have to win that, you have to do that, you have to do this. And sometimes it's really hard for me, because it's something is my dreams and my goals, and something else is everybody else's dreams and goals about me. And sometimes I forget what is actually my dream and my goal, because everybody expects so much from me. And sometimes it's hard, and sometimes I have to be alone. And after the season, I try to be alone and listen to my heart, what I really want in my life. Because if someone says you have to do that, then of course I won't do that. Because it's the same when your parents say, now you have to study, then you won't study.
Yeah, you study when you're ready.
Yes, you study when you're ready and when you're motivated to study. Because if someone says, now you have to study, then you won't study anything. And it's the same for me in climbing. If someone says you have to compete in speed, for example, which I don't really like, and if someone says that, I won't do good. But if I say yes, I want to do speed, I want to try to break my personal record, then probably I would.
That's amazing because I mean, I'm guilty of that when I'm commentating. I can't just say, "Here's Janja. I hope she has fun." I have to say she could break this record. She could be the most successful person of all time. I have to say all this. It's my job. I would get fired if I just said, "Ah, it doesn't matter if she has fun. Who cares?" I have to say, I have to make it dramatic. It's really impressive that you can ignore that.
Yes, I completely understand you.
But your coaches have to try to motivate you, hey? Or what I mean is, you can't ignore what other people are saying, but it's impressive that you're able to not think about it.
Yes, I can feel you, because of course you have to say that on camera. But I really love that when we are talking, that you know that I can't always win, and you say that to me, because you don't expect everything from me. But this is your job, and you have to do that. And yes, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how can I climb in such pressure from everybody else, because I think I have a really strong mind. I have strong mind and a weak mind. I'm two persons in one, and I try not to listen about everybody else's opinion, and I try to listen to myself, and if I enjoy the movement, and I always think about my climbing, and maybe this is because why I'm so successful, because I always think about myself. I don't think about what everybody else's think, and I think this is the key to success.
How do you access that? You said you've got a strong mind and a weak mind. What's the strong side first? Is it that ability to be natural?
Yeah, I think my strong mind is when I don't think about anything, when I just go for it, and just to enjoy the route, not to think about the result. And when I don't have doubt in myself, I'm so focused that I don't hear anything. I just see the next move. This is my strong side, and my weak side is that sometimes I really start overthinking about everything. I overthink about the route, that the first move is really hard, and then I came in the route, and the first move is of course not so hard, and then I don't know. It's just about the parts of the route when I think it's hard, and then I kind of get scared of that move. Then I get pumped, and I forget about climbing. I don't even know how to climb anymore, and and it's just everything is I messed up everything, but it's always kind of I can still be second, even though if I messed up anything, I can still be second, and I think also that sometimes, yes, I have doubt in myself before a competition, if I'm strong enough or if I trained enough. This is my weak side, because again, I don't focus on myself, but I think about is everybody else stronger than me. This is my weak side.
I guess the big question is, how do you access the good side?
I don't even know. It just clicks, and
But you said you're trying to train your mental side. What is the point of that you can always access the good, Janja?
I don't know. It just I have to be in a really good mood. I have to make fun of everything. I shouldn't be focused too much. I mean, I have to be focused when it's time for that, but not focused when I'm enjoying time or coffee with friends. I don't have to be focused then. I just have to enjoy, and also I have to be really just smiling all the time and being happy and jumping around, and this is me with a strong mind. And then just before you go in the route, you don't think about anything. You don't think if you can do that move, and you just think, you just don't think about anything. And yes, I don't know how to get to that state of mind, because it just happens.
It's really tricky for coaches, and I guess even people that see you every day, because everyone's different. I interviewed a former Formula One driver, and he was saying that his best way of succeeding was just 100% focus. Just ate, drank, and slept Formula One. That was all he thought about. And it sounds like you're almost the opposite.
Yes.
I mean, you have to train a lot, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I train a lot, and for me, I think it's not good to think too much about climbing, because when you think too much and if it doesn't work out as you wanted, then it won't be as you wanted in the competition. But when you have something with climbing, if you have, for example, I had climbing and school. I usually I was in school, I had to study, and I didn't even have time to think about climbing. And then I went to training, and I didn't think about training. I just climbed. And because, of course, I hate school, I hate studying. And when I came to the training, I really enjoyed, and I could forget about studying. And I just went climbing. And I think that was my strong mind. And now I don't have school, and I always remind myself that I shouldn't think too much about climbing, and of course I should enjoy. And now I'm starting something to do with climbing, and I'm learning Japanese. I just
Really?
I just said that I have to do something with climbing, and if I have just climbing, then I think it won't be as good as before. And yes, I said that I will learn a language, and this is Japanese, but I don't know how how successful I will be in Japanese, but it's a good way to start something.
Well, I didn't know that, but that's perfect because we will be going to Japan. I don't know if I'll be going. I guess you'll be going in 2020. Climbing's first time at the Olympics. Is that something you think about more and more? I know you're training all three disciplines now, and maybe you didn't train speed before. And we talked about how sometimes you're better if you forget things or you don't focus on things. Are you not trying to think about it too much?
Yes, of course, because if you again think too much about the Olympics, for example, then you will mess up your climbing, and also feel like that. And I train all three disciplines. I mean, I still don't train speed as much as I should, and as much as I wanted, but it's still a start. And of course, everybody is talking about the Olympics, and of course you also think about the Olympics. And I think it's still a long way to go to the Olympics, but it's still getting closer and closer. And I think I will do as every year, training bouldering, lead, and I will try to put some speed in the training. And I think it will be the same as every year. Just maybe the next year will be a pretty intense one, and you will have to really think about the training, what to train, when to train, how to train, and with the World Championships and then the combined competitions and every that, it will be really intense. So it will be really important to think about the Olympics, yes, and with how to organize the training, I will of course think about the Olympics.
Yeah, just because earlier you said you need something else to distract you. You're a professional athlete now, right?
Yes.
You don't have a different career or full-time job. What would an average day look like for you, say, starting in the new year after Christmas? Everybody eats too much at Christmas. It's okay. But at the start of the year, what will an average day look like for you, do you think?
I think every year, this year after the China Open, I will have 3 weeks rest, or in December I will have a 3 weeks rest, And I will do, I think, yoga, learning Japanese, and stuff like that. And after that, I will come back to training. I will start with of course easy training, and I think my average day will be wake up, eat, training, and then maybe yoga, stretching, learning, and eat, sleep, and repeat. I think this will be my normal day.
And just looking ahead to the Olympics, we had the World Championship in September in Innsbruck, and I don't know if you watched the replay, but Mike Langley, my co-commentator, when we were in Europe, said, "What do you think might stop Janja?" And I said live on air, injuries happen in climbing and life, and motivation. But I'm interested what your answer would have been.
I think, of course, injuries is, of course, the first thing that can happen. And so, as I'm getting older,
oh, come on.
Yes, but of course, when I was younger, I was flexible. I didn't have to do stretching. I was just always perfect. I was never tired. But I can. I'm still 19, but I can still feel that shoulder injury, knee injury, this and that, and I think I will have to do some mobility exercises, some more stretching, more yoga, and I think this will be also my goal in the next year to do more of that. And what else can stop me is I think the motivation will be high. Of course, but I think the what can stop me is my mind, because yes, I think I'm number one now, and it's really hard to keep that for all these years. I was like maybe for 3 years now. I am the top climber, and I can see that the level is increasing every year. You can't just come and win every competition because it's getting really hard. Girls are really strong. Anybody can win, and it was I think before it was. In the guys' competition, it was always like that. Everybody can win, but in the girls, it was always the same 6 climbers. It was in the finals at every competition, but it's not like that anymore, because I mean it's still maybe 3 girls are always in the finals, but the other 3 girls are always different. And I think it also in the women's category it will be like that, changing all the time, and I think it will be really hard to keep up with everything, with the style, with everything. And I think, yes, my mind.
When I said at the time motivation, we hadn't had this conversation, and I thought that getting up every day to train was a big chore for you, and it's really clear that it's not. And so I stand corrected, but it's fascinating to hear. And just looking even further ahead, I don't want to ask you, what's your motivation for the next year or the next 2 years, because I know you want to be the best, and I'm sure you don't want to say it or curse it or whatever, but I'm sure you'd love it to go well in the Olympics.
Yeah, of course, for me it's really important to have a dream, to have a goal, to have a vision. And for me it's really important to, after every season, for me it's really important to look at the season, to see what was good, what was not good, and to change that or to add something in the next season. And also I have already some dreams and goals in my mind for next year, and I will focus on that. And
it's such a hard balance, though, isn't it? Yeah. Between you talking about how you're best when you don't think about it too much, but also you can't ignore that the Olympics is coming up.
Yeah. It's true that I'm training every day, and of course this is not a load for me, because if it was, I wouldn't be good. And yes, Olympics are coming quickly, and of course, my biggest weakness is of speed, and I have to train speed. And I think this is the only thing that it's not really what I love the most, and maybe in speed will be some disagreement with the trainer and this and that, and that sometimes I I sometimes I won't love to train speed, and I think this will be the most uncomfortable part of the next year.
Yeah, I have to say, actually, I think some of the climbers are thinking too much about the Olympics. That's the impression I have. And I feel like some of the climbers I speak to, they always think about every result and everything they do in terms of the Olympics. And I
Yes, I
don't
think.
think that's healthy.
Yeah, I don't think that's healthy either, and I think the specialist who is also who is just in bouldering or just in lead don't think about the Olympics because they know that I don't know they don't have a chance or something like that. But I think a lot of climbers have pressure from the federation and from the country. I think this is very unhealthy because I can see a lot of climbers who have pressure not for them and but just for the from the federation, and but I think every climber wish to have a separate, the separate Olympics, the disciplines, and but I think someone who is not top in lead or top in bouldering is really keen on to have the combined. Um, but I can see that a lot of speed climbers who were really good in speed, now they train for the overall, and now they are not so good in their discipline anymore, and but also not so good in the overall. There are something somewhere in between, and I think again, this is not the pressure from them, but this is the pressure from federation. Because if it was from them, then it would be much better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, let's assume you want the Olympics to go well. I think that's a safe assumption. But 10 years from now, do you have any idea? I have to say, I wrote a time capsule when I was 19. You know what a time capsule is? Where you write what you think will happen in 10 years. And I actually opened it, well, it was now 5 years ago, but it was a long way off. So there's no pressure. It will be more accurate than mine. But assuming you want to keep competing and you want success in the Olympics, do you have any idea what the future long term might be 10 years from now? What situation you might like to be in?
Of course, I want to be involved in the climbing still. I want to climb outside. I think maybe after the first Olympics and after the second Olympics, I think my motivation will be more on the rock climbing. And I think I would love to climb. Also, I think I will love to climb more on rock than on competitions. Of course, I will still do some of the competitions, but I will focus more on rock climbing. And in 10 years, I think I will be also a trainer. I love doing with the kids, but not any kids. I want to have the competition, I want to have the motivated kids who love to compete, and I want to have good competitors. And I think, and me and Domen are planning to have our own climbing gym.
This is Domen, your boyfriend.
My boyfriend, yes.
Who's also an incredibly successful climber.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Domen.
And we want to have, yes, our own climbing gym. And I think this is what I want, what I think it will be in 10 years.
That's amazing. The first thing you said is after the next 2 Olympics. Climbing is only confirmed for the next Olympics, as you know. But you're thinking it's not the end of the road for you for competitions. You're already thinking potentially 2 Olympics.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm still 19 years old, and I think I can also compete in 3 Olympics if climbing will be at the Olympics. And I think at the second Olympics we will have a separate disciplines, and this is really good for specialists. And yes, of course I'm thinking about competing in in at least 2 Olympics, and yes, this is what I want to do.
Well, I think it's an amazing insight into you that you already thinking like that. You know, to some people, again, I mentioned some of the other climbers, I feel like the Olympics is almost too big for them. But for you, it's just the first of several Olympics. And I think that's a really unique insight into how you think about your sport and your future and everything. It always feels like you're almost slightly above everyone else, not in a nasty way, but as if you're just on a different level mentally. And that's a really interesting answer you gave.
Yes, I'm not a person who thinks a lot about the future, because I don't know what I will eat for dinner, and I don't know what will I do in 10 years. So I'm a kind of person who lives in a day, who goes day by day, and who tries to enjoy the day. And I'm just a kind of person who goes with the flow. And yes, it's weird in some way to think about 10 years in the future, because you never know what will happen.
Yeah, I know it's an impossible question.
Yes, but you can still think about something. But I'm still trying, yes, to go day by day, and I always say that I will compete as long as I like competing.
Well, that sounds a good theory to live by, and it's worked so far. And just from my point of view, I started this job at the start of the 2016 season, so I've watched every one of your victories. And for me, it's felt like a real privilege to watch you every week and to interact with you, because there are lots of people with a big ego, and there are lots of people who slightly look down on people that aren't the best climbers in the world, like me. I mean, I used to be amazing, obviously. You know, when I was 21, I was incredible. Maybe. But it's always a pleasure to deal with you. You're always friendly. It's always nice to see you. I always feel like you're friendly and you're approachable, and you have something interesting to say. And from a sporting point of view, it's been a real privilege to watch you over the last few years. And I'm really pleased to hear that you're not going anywhere.
Oh, thank you so much. I always try to be humble and be friendly with everyone, because I don't care if you have 10 millions, if you are from other races, or if you are I don't know, if you have so many victories. If you are nice to me, I will be nice to you. And I always try to be humble, friendly. I'm approachable. I am funny. I think I'm funny.
If you think you're funny, that's okay. That's half the battle.
And yes, I always try to get well with everyone. And I sometimes I love when someone meets me and they don't know me, because I love to say, "Hey, I'm Janja," and I love that someone can meet me not by my results or by my climb, but how I am as a person, you know. And this is really important for me.
Words to live by. I think the world would be a better place if we had more people with your worldview. Age 19 or otherwise, they're words to live by. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for giving me such a enjoyable time watching you over the last few years. And get to bed and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
So there you have it, an extraordinary athlete with the talent, work ethic, and humility to dominate for a long time. If this is the first time you'd heard her name, you will now perhaps understand why you might be hearing it a bit more in the summer of 2020. You can follow her on Instagram, Janja_Garnbret, or Facebook, Garnbret Janja. And there's also plenty of videos about her on YouTube. As ever, if you've enjoyed the show today, please help us out and give us an iTunes review, preferably a nice one. And we will continue to bring you interviews with interesting people from the sporting world. Thank you for listening, and speak to you soon.